All right then, folks, we are back finally, and we are so far behind schedule on this RS2000 now, it's unreal. But if I'm honest with you, I've had a couple of weeks off. If you watched the last video, you would have seen all the grief that this thing gave me in the last episode, and it completely sapped me dry of motivation and energy. So I've kind of been at home sulking for a little bit, and yeah, I think I'm finally over that now. I'm going to stop being a big baby about it and actually push on with the car again, because we need to get this thing done. So in the last episode, if you watched that, you would have seen me make the perimeter box in, bend up the main hoop and the two forward sections of the roll cage. All of that is essentially done and how I want it to be. So we need to move on to the next phase now, which is going to be tacking the two forward sections to the main hoop, making a new tube to go across the top of the windscreen there. We need to lose all of this steering column support. I've now decided that I'm going to have my steering column mounted to the roll cage, so that all needs to come out. A dash tube needs to go across, and we also need to make a cross in the roof. So once we've done all of that, I can then move the roll cage back, drop it down, weld everything out all the way around, pop it all back into place and get it fully made into the car. So that is the general gist of the plan for this episode. Fingers crossed this thing doesn't give me any more jip in this episode and doesn't trash any more of my tube. And hopefully things go smoothly, because I've actually got another car that I need to get in here very soon, so I can get all the suspension components and a jig made ready to go into this thing. So without further ado, let's get on with it and start measuring up some tube. Well, I'm afraid the lighting in this car is anything but ideal, folks. You're going to have to bear with me for the foreseeable, but I think the plan is to start with this tube that will go across the top of the windscreen. I have had the windscreen taken out now as well, so I've got a little bit more ease of access, shall we say. The initial plan was to just have a straight section of tube going from this point over to that point, but that does leave a fair old gap between the roll cage tubing and the panel work of the car. So I think the new plan is going to be to have a kick on a bit of pipe, take it up closer to this panel work, come all the way over and then kick back down, and then it'll join back into the other side. So let's get the stick of inches out and take some measurements. So here we have the latest 2 casualties to add to the list of all my cock-ups so far on this thing. I've just not really been thinking straight at all, if I'm honest. So let's walk through the issues with these 2. So first and foremost, I hadn't marked a centre line on the tubes or on the car. So that was my first failing point. Second one was with this first tube, I marked a couple of quick scribbles on there, and before I'd even thought about it, I just started cutting away, trying to make my notch, and it was in the completely wrong spot. So that made that one pretty much scrap straight off the bat. The second one, again, I hadn't made any sort of reference point on the middle of this tube. So I started notching that side first, got that fitting nice and lovely. But when I come to this side, I actually cut out a little bit more material than I'd expected to. So by the time I'd actually notched all this, it actually pulled the tube right over and then left a gap on that side, or that side, depends on which way you had it. So all in all, don't rush this stuff because it will bite you in the backside. So lesson learned there, mark a centre point on your tube, centre point on the car, so you've got a decent reference point to work from. And then hopefully, if you take your time, it should all work out pretty nicely, like this third attempt. So this one actually fits pretty good. It's all tacked up in place. I have got a little gap just around the top here, but I think what I'm going to do is actually just miggle this now, so a bit of filler in there and it'll all be good to go. So yeah, I could have just not mentioned any of that in the video. I could have just shown you that piece and carried on regardless, but hopefully me explaining my little cock-ups might help someone in the future. So yeah, don't do what I'm doing and cause yourself a load of expensive waste. But I think now, moving on from that, what we need to do is the next phase, which is going to be making a cross across the roof there. So I need to start at this point, go up across the roof all the way over to my main hoop, and then tie into this area here somewhere. I haven't quite decided exactly where I want that to land yet, but we'll start on this side first and then we'll work that bit out afterwards. So let's go to the bench, cut another bit of tube, and hopefully take my time and get this one all done without any casualties. Oh, would you look at that, folks? What you're witnessing here is my first and only attempt at doing this first roof bar, and it has come out absolutely spot on. So this right here is a testament to that age-old saying of slow and steady wins the race. Take your time. I need to take my time. Yes, it probably took me way longer than it needed to get that right, but I am so happy with the result. So, lesson learned. I need to slow down, stop trying to rush into things. Right, next one is going to be a case of going from this main hoop here over to this tube, and then from this tube over to this front corner here. Now that comes with its own little dilemmas. Obviously, one, I've got to make 2 notches in that tube, 2 notches in this tube. Not only that, but I need to make sure this runs absolutely square straight the way over to where it needs to intersect here. So yeah, I definitely need to take my time on that. But that is going to be a job for tomorrow, folks. I need to go home, go and have some rest, and hopefully let my ears stop ringing, because all that grinder work in there today has left me feeling like I've been at a concert all night. But let's have one last look at this, because I am so made up with that. Oh yes, happy days. Right, pick you guys back up tomorrow. Oh, we are getting somewhere now, folks. Let's take a second to appreciate how cool that looks. I am absolutely over the moon with that. Now, I've spent so long staring at this tube and this tube, making sure they're parallel one another, but the trouble is, the more I look at it, the more I think this one needs to come over a little bit, but I'm not too sure if that's just my eyes playing tricks on me now. But I am so made up with that. I'm actually starting to enjoy this tube work now. I'm starting to get the hang of it. And off camera, I have actually been playing around with another tube, because my camera did actually die. And that is that tube that I'm thinking needs to go there. Obviously, this isn't final fit. I think I need to play around with this a little bit more. I think that needs to actually come downwards like that a little bit more, because otherwise it looks a bit silly. But you'll have to let us know what you think of that in the comment section below, because I'm not 100% decided on that yet. Do I do anything to triangulate that corner, or do I just leave it without? You'll have to let us know. But I need to turn my attention away from tube work for a minute and focus on getting this steering column support out now. So we need to drill out a few spot welds that are on the top, on the sides, a few at the bottom there, which are going to be fun trying to get to, and then grind out these plug welds on the side here, and then we can move all of that out of the way and focus on making a dash bar across there. So that is next on the agenda. Let's get on with it. That is the steering column support done, all deleted, and we have a bunch of room here now for all the activities. So what we need to do now is actually measure up a tube to go from here over to here, which will be our dash bar. But what I need to do is actually overcut this slightly, because this tube here is ever so slightly leaning over. So if I overcut it, when we knock it up into place, hopefully that will correct that lean over and actually put it upright. That is the plan, at least, anyway. So I think I might actually use the tube notcher for this, seeing as both the notches are on the same plane. So hopefully that will work out quite well. So yeah, nothing else to it. Let's go over to the bench and get some more tube cut. And just like that, folks, we have got ourselves a dash bar. Look at that. That has come out absolutely perfectly, and not only that, it has straightened out that tube like I wanted it to as well, so I cannot ask for more than that. I'm so happy with how this has come out so far. And this little trick here, I picked this up on the internet the other day. This is brilliant. So this bit of flat stock strapped to the tube, put your angle finder on it, do your notch, spin it over, put your angle finder back on it, and it makes sure that your notches are parallel one another. I would have spent ages trying to figure out how to do that otherwise. That has been absolutely brilliant. Cannot fault that at all. So yeah, happy days, man. This tube is nice and snug up against the bulkhead here, so I'm hoping to weld that to the bulkhead, so that'll secure all of that. The windscreen tube up here is nice and tight, so I'll be able to get a couple of welds across there. The two front sections are nice and snug up in this corner here, so I'll be able to weld them as well. And then the main hoop is also nice and snug up against the body here, so I'll also weld that in place there as well. So all in all, it has actually come out very, very well, considering how we started with this and it's not going too well. It's actually starting to go in the right direction, and I cannot be any happier. So yeah, the last thing I want to do is just put some 3mm plates on the bottom here, just so I've got somewhere for the roll cage to perch on properly, and we're pretty much there. But other than that, I think what we need to do is start picking all this back out, clean up all the joints, start prepping them all properly, and start gluing this sucker in. But it is way too late to start that now, so what I'll do is I'll pick you guys back up tomorrow and we'll get to work unpicking all this, prep it all, and with any luck start welding some of it in properly. So I'll see you tomorrow. And we're back, folks. So forget everything you've just heard me say in that last clip. I have changed my mind and we are not going to take this thing apart just yet, because I actually want to do a couple more bits before I take it all apart, and that is making a couple of diagonals across here from the roof bar down to the front sections. That isn't necessarily for any structural benefit, that's more just so I've got something to grab hold of when I'm trying to get in and out of the car. So I'll make one for there, one for that side, and I've made an executive decision to go ahead and make that triangulation piece there as well. So I'll do that in 1.5 inches. This bit here will go in 1 inch. I've got only one chance at doing this in the 1 inch, because that's all I've got, that little tiny section there. So fingers crossed this works out, and whilst we're doing that, I'm going to ponder a little bit more over that idea there, because I might put a little bit of a bend in that to take it over to the B pillar, so I can weld it to the B pillar at the same time. So yeah, bit of a change of direction, but I think it's probably in my best interest to do that whilst everything's still in a position to be moved and whatnot, rather than struggling later on. So let's take that over to the bench, measure that out, cut that out, and fingers crossed we get these notches done without any screw ups. Oh, it's looking more and more like a race car the more tubes I put in it, folks. well happy with how this is turning out. Now, like I said though, I haven't done this for any sort of structural benefit really. This is, well, mainly just to have a grab handle. So when I come to get in and out of the car, I've got something to grab hold of and hopefully make my life a little bit easier, because yeah, I'm getting a little bit older these days, and I'm sure once the door bars are across there, it's going to be a bit of a pig getting in and out of. So that should come in handy for that. But with the exception of having to bevel these and clean up all the tube, they are both done. Which brings us on to this triangulation piece here, which is going to be a little bit more structural. So I'm going to go from point A to point B. John did point out the other day with this bit of tube that I had kicking around with a bend in it, if I have that in such a way, I can actually lay that tube up against the B pillar and tie it into the B pillar there at the same time. However, albeit that is a good idea, I've kind of already got plans of gusseting this main hoop to the B pillar anyway, so I think I'm just going to keep it simple, go from point A to point B, straight tube, and then stick with the original plan of gusseting that in at a later point. So without further ado, let's go and cut up some more tube. Well, in comparison to that first bit I was playing around with, this is 100% better. It looks like it's actually meant to be there now. So dead stoked with that. Again, just need to finish off a couple of little minor touches to the notches and we're good to go. Put some bevels on, clean it all up, ready to weld it in. But now I think rather than put you through the ordeal of watching me do that again, we are going to go for the typical YouTube snap trick. So 3, 2, 1. And we're there. We've got the other side done, folks. So that is both these sort of corner gussets, if you like, whatever you want to call them, I don't know, are done and dusted. And with that, that is basically the whole front section of this roll cage done. All we need to do now is pull it all back out, clean everything up, put some bevels on the ends of the tubes and weld it in. But it is looking so good. I am so made up with how this is starting to come together now. Yes. We've had some hurdles to overcome, but I think we're moving in the right direction now, finally. And I am made up. But as much as I wanted to get this welded in this episode, I think I'm going to have to admit defeat. It's going to take me a good while just trying to chop all this back out, clean it all up, put bevels on it, and then weld it in. So I think we'll call it quits for this episode. I'll pick you guys back up when we're ready to crack on and pull that stuff out and move on to the next phase, which is going to be cutting more of this car apart. We need to lose all of this back section of the car and all of this front section of the car in preparation for the running gear from another car that I've got at home. So that will be coming down here soon and we need to make a jig from that. So let us know what you think in the comment section and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. So like, comment, subscribe, stay tuned for more and I'll see you very soon. Peace.